Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to show you how to shape and mold and bake burger buns. If you're making burgers, and we're coming into burger season now, if you're making burgers for guests and you want an exquisite burger, you have to consider all of the elements of a burger. One is the meat, of course, and the toppings, and that's really an individual taste. But if you don't have an exceptional bun, then your burger is just going to be pedestrian, in my opinion. Now, there are some great commercial buns you can buy, but if you're making a bun, this is how you shape it. You want to measure this foil out to 12.5 inches or 32 centimeters. And if you know what this action is, that means you went to Catholic school. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to make an aluminum collar. This is a ring mold, and you're going to make 8 burger buns. So rather than buy 8 of these, unless you work in an industrial kitchen, there's no reason to have these laying around your house for something that you do twice a year, right? So I will show you how to make these, very simple, and then we'll start rolling out the dough. This is 3.5 inches, and I always put that on my collars or ring molds, whatever you want to call them, so that I know what it is. Then I have a piece of aluminum foil. This is 12.5 inches, which is 32 centimeters. It doesn't matter if you do the shiny side or not. You take a piece of foil, cut it in half this way. Take your half, fold that in half. Now you have these raw edges, which I'm sure you can get a lovely little paper cut from that. So what I do is I fold that up. Now that's gone. And then you just fold it again, not to meet the edges though. You want this to be about 1.5 inches thick. So this lip is now safe. You're not going to cut yourself on that. You want to fold this about halfway up the strip. Then take something, this can be a cup, doesn't have to be a ring mold. This lip is on the outside, so the inside, where the dough is going to be, is the smooth side. You're just going to fold that over, and then take a staple and staple it. From here, it's very easy to shape back into a round. So that's your ring mold. Your dough will rise in here to beautiful heights and be beautifully shaped. So I've made 8 of these rings, and when I bake them, I'm putting them on a silicone mat. You can just prep a pan with oil or use parchment paper. This is a cooking oil, it's not a baking oil. And I'm going to just spray the inside of these. Look at this beautiful dough. Have you ever seen anything like this? It's like a little beautiful balloon. I have some butter here. This is 3 tablespoons. I'm going to melt this, and then we'll divide this into 8 pieces. This weighs 876 grams, I think it was, so it works out to be 109 grams per burger bun, or you can just eyeball it. You just want to get 8 even pieces. The way to do that is you cut everything in half. You always go in halves. So you cut one big piece in half, then you're going to cut this into 2s, and that goes into 2s. And let's see what I'm getting here. 102, so that's not far off. What's a gram or 2 between burgers? I like to scale this all out because it really does give you a better bake when everything is even. When you shape a round bread, whether it's a bun or a big bread, doesn't matter, it's all the same. When you want a round, you can't just shape it. I've seen people try to do this in class. You shape it, and then they say, oh, my bread is round, it'll be round. What happens to this loaf of bread or bun is it kind of flattens out like a pancake. So what you want to do is have your bun, create a little tension over it, and this is how you do it. Your work surface should be clean. I have just a few little grains of flour on it. That's all that you want. The texture of your work surface, whether it's wood or stone or laminate, really doesn't matter because you're not going to keep this on this surface for very long, not long enough to create a problem. So you want your dough to be a little tacky, but not sticking to your hands. What you do is you take all of these corners, push them all together into the center, then flip it over. Now this is going to be your show side, your presentation side. Cup your hand over your roll, and then you just start rolling it around and form little circles, and you'll feel, and I'm pushing down just a little bit, not hard, but this cage, if you will, is not open around this roll. My hand is on it, and it's pushing down a little bit, and if you can see, this is actually moving, and it's sticking to the surface just a little bit, and that's exactly what you want. And now this has sealed up the bottom seam, and this has a nice round shape and a tension that goes across. This will rise as a round. For the burger buns, we're actually going to want to smash these out a little bit, but you still want to start with that tension. Put everything together in the center, turn it, and start moving in circles. Down and around in circles. Now this next part, this is where you've just worked the dough. The dough is now, if you tried to stretch it out, it would fight you, it would come back. So you have to let this rest. This is called a bench rest. And I'm just going to let this sit here for 10 minutes with a clean tea towel just covering it, that's all. Easy. These have been sitting for 10 minutes. And you can see they're already starting to puff up. What you do now is you just kind of flatten this out and then fit them right into one of these molds. As this starts to proof, it will fill this mold out completely and even puff up over the mold. And I'm just doing this very gently. Now I'm just going to take a pastry brush and very gently just paint these with this melted butter. I have a little butter left over, which is just enough so that when they come out of the oven, you can give them another little butter wash, a butter bath. Just some plastic wrap on top, again, so that a draft doesn't come at them. Depending on your ambient kitchen temperature will depend on how long these take to rise. I'm going to guess that here, where it is 72 degrees, these will take about 30-40 minutes. So let me show you how you know when these are ready to go in the oven. When you very gently just touch your dough, and this is for any dough, just touch it. You can feel it's full of air. It's very marshmallowy feeling. If your dough springs right back, then it's not ready. That will be an underproofed bread. If you put your finger in there and the indent takes a longer time to come up, that's good, that's ready to go. I'll do that again. You see it is springing back, but it's taking an awfully long time. That's perfect. If on the other hand you put your finger in there and it stays dimpled and doesn't move at all, that's overproofed. And I think of all breads, overproofed is the most sad because it goes into the oven and instead of springing up, it has no life left to it, if you will. So it stays kind of saggy looking. It tries to blow up. You'll get a crust with air underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'll just seed 4 of these. So I have 4 that will be shiny and golden brown, and we'll compare it to these others that I'm not doing anything to. And then I have some seeds. I have I have black and white sesame seed. You can use poppy seed. The black sesame seeds actually have a lot of calcium. They're slightly bitter, and really those are the only ones that are showing up, isn't it? The other thing I have here, and I'm not going to use this today, but you can use onion flakes. This is actually an onion, fried onion that you can get in the supermarket. You can also find them in Oriental stores, and sometimes you can find shallots that are also fried, so you have a difference of flavor there. If you're using these, and the reason I'm not doing it today is I just didn't think of it, but put them in your blender and make them into a powder, and then just sprinkle those on top like you would the seeds. So these are going into the oven, 375, 15 to 18 minutes, and I'll see you when they come out. Two of the most difficult things to do in bread baking or in baking is, first of all, to know when your bread is ready to go into the oven, and I showed you that little poke test, so that's a good one. The other difficult thing is waiting for your bread to cool enough so that you can eat it. When you take your bread right out of the oven, and these are still piping hot, it's still baking. And you have to let that finish and complete the cycle before you cut into this. Otherwise, if you cut into this now while it's hot, all of the air that you built into your dough is going to become squished and wet, and it's not a very good bite. So unfortunately, we do have to wait for these. But these collars, I wanted to show you, they just come right off. You can hear these are, ooh, they're hot. The thump test. The thump test has been done for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, by bread bakers all over the world. That's what I do rather than putting a thermometer in my bread. I've tried that in the past. And one day I had this beautiful bread, and it had a scar all the way through because of the probe that I put into the bread. And I thought, why am I scarring my bread? I'm just going back to the thump test. It works. So I can tell you that people will say you need to be about 190 degrees, but I just go by eye. I can tell these are beautiful and golden brown. They thump, and by the time they're rested and cooled, they will be beautiful inside. So the other thing I wanted to point out is, instead of just putting these on a cooling rack, I like putting them up on something. I just happen to have this rack that lifts my bread up, but you don't have to have that. You can use a bowl or anything just to lift your rack up, because that way you get there's better aeration around the bread, and that way I just feel like they cool more evenly. I do this with cookies and everything now. What Mumi does, the author to this recipe, is gives it one last paint of butter. You have to be careful with the seeded buns so that you don't disturb it too much. Is there any better aroma in your house than bread baking? I'm going to say 15 minutes before we can cut into these. Let's see how this bread looks. This is the inside of the roll, which is absolutely perfect. It's tight enough to hold the juices from a burger. Let me take a little bite. Other sandwiches, of course, can be used for this, and if these are too thick for you, some of them are, you can just cut out the middleman and put it back together as a little thinner bun. Use this for breadcrumbs, fresh or dry. But use your favorite recipe, but make your buns, up your game. When people see you come to a party with these, or if you have people over and they find these, they will think that you are just the most fabulous cook in the world. These are delicious. Thank you, Mumi, for the recipe, and thank you all for watching. And I have a burger recipe coming up as well. So see you around. Bye, guys.